On my early game review, I talk about the game and the pleasure you get from the get-go, or at least very early, and if it's worth it, will you be able to get your cost back in pleasure and fun. Today we are gonna talk about Last Epoch and see if you can have fun very early, or do you need to wait until the end of the game. So I'm gonna spoil you right from the get-go. I did have a lot of fun even early game, and before going into the looking for my best stuff, farming for stuff, etc. Even during the leveling, I had a lot of fun and did it on multiple characters, thing that I never do usually because I hate rerolling. And that has a lot to do with actually personalization of your character. And I'm gonna try to explain to you why I had fun and why you will have fun with it too. So first, you're gonna choose 1 out of 5 characters. I wouldn't call them class because of one reason. So you have your warrior, rogue, mage, druid, and acolyte, something like a warlock or something like that. Once you choose a character, after an hour or a bit more of game, you will choose a subclass, and those are the actual classes. That will completely change the theme of your game and the feeling of your class. But they are so deep that even in those, you will personalize the class well enough so that even if your friend play a Void Knight 2, you will not necessarily play the same way at all. You're not in the same fantasy even, if needed. For example, here is my primal list. From a primal list, I chose to go Druid. And even in Druid, so I unlock those 4 skills, and then you will be able to specialize those skills, modify them so much, then you will have to choose which one you kind of focus on, right? So for Druid, you will have a bear form, classic, right? A treant form, summoning more treants, an insect, more dexterity, fighting melee form, and just sending roots, right? I, for my character, chose to evolve into a treant, create more of them, and make them shoot projectiles, like you can see here, right? Make them look like they are Gatling gun from everywhere. But, in actuality, if I wanted, I could have the same skill, but not go plant like that at all. What I could do, actually, invoke a shitload of totem like you can see here in this video, where you don't see a plant, you don't see summon, you just have the totem shooting everywhere around you. But I could also focus on propagating roots everywhere that buff my allies and stun my enemies, etc. And I could also, by mixing different skills, actually I could just be a bear, big burly bear jumping around, dealing damage, creating earthquake, by being the exact same class. But same class doesn't mean same gameplay, doesn't mean same team. There is a lot of personalization like that, because between what I told you is I just specialized in one skill or another, and the team is completely different. Also, the gameplay is completely different. So it does feel like there is a lot depth, a lot of different choice. And that's one skill out of the 5 of the actual class I chose, right? And what makes you able to specialize like that is this. For example, so I will take my form of a treant, right? You will have around 20 points to put into a specialization and to choose all your skill actually works, right? Do you want less cooldown, but less powerful, or do you want it to be an ultimate, but a long cooldown? And you will be able to choose that for each skill to personalize your team and your gameplay as much as you want. I mean, at least a very big amount. You will be able to change the appearance even of the skill depending of the element it shoots, right? For example, this I can make it a winter treant, right? Or every skill is actually cold damage. Allow you to personalize not only in the gameplay but the appearance and the theme of your gameplay. If I take another skill as an example, the summoning of other treants, do I want them to be the DPS summon, or do I want them to heal and support my allies? Do I want them to shoot like a machine gun like I showed you, or do I want them to do more skills, AoE type of damage? Do I want them to themselves summon other stuff, or do I want them to heal in a AoE and give birth? If you enjoyed the video so far, don't forget to subscribe, join all the social down below, at least the one that interests you, and I hope you continue to enjoy this video. Now, to take a broad step back, to show the flavor and the choice you have, let's say that you have a gameplay specific in those games that you usually like. For the sake of this example, let's say you like pets, you like to have either companion with you, right? Usually in games you will have a hunter that will have 1, 2 or 3 companions accompanying you, or you will have the necromancer that will have a lot of skeleton and 1 golem, right? Here, let's see what different flavor and choice do you have. So first, the classical necromancer. You will have either an army of skeleton that you can tune like you want. Do you want archer? Do you want mage? Do you want rogues inside? You will choose that. But you could also go with golems. Do you want 1 giant golem, or do you want an army of little golem? Do you want them to DPS, or do you want them to be torn, to retaliate damage, okay? You want them to be hit and retaliate damage. Or do you want to whip them for them to do more damage? That's the kind of choice you get. You can also summon actually spirit and ghosts that change the gameplay a bit. But you will have now also the primalist, where you will have a different menagerie of animals like you can see here. But which one do you want to specialize on? Because they have their quirk and pros and cons. Or you could make an army of squirrels. A fucking army of squirrels eating people from the inside. That sounds pretty epic to me. Or you could have totems everywhere, like I showed you earlier. Or you could go in Druid and invoke either treants, or invoke plants everywhere that explode in poison, or shoot Gatling gun like I showed you earlier. Once again, if all this doesn't appeal to you and you want something a bit different, well, a warrior has a summoner class actually. This Forged Guard invoke weapon like they forged it, weapons, shield, and armor golem to fight for him. You will have flying sword, axe, etc. that will fight for you while you're fighting in it too, breathing fire. That is the type of flavor that you can get from just the minion type of gameplay. And I'm sure there is things I don't know yet, that maybe other type of choice you can get with this gameplay. And you're gonna tell me, Sashaar, it's good and all, but that's at the end game, right? You're gonna personalize all that at the end game. Before that, it's not meaningful. And I will tell you that that's where they capitalize on all those choices. You actually get it while you level up. What I mean by that is, you see the 5 skills that you choose to main, to personalize. Out of all of those that you will be able to choose, you choose 5, and you will gain points to put in their tree, right? To absolutely personalize and modify to your liking. To even make some synergize between them. Some skill will, when you use them, launch the other abilities that you have personalized. So it creates synergy and evolve like that. But what I mean is, as you can see, I'm level 47. There is 100 level. Even then, I'm already at 15 out of 20 on most of those skills. So during your level up, at each level, you will gain passive to level, like usual, giving you stats and all this kind of thing. But between levels, you will level up those skills that XP bar here, as you can see, and it gives you another hit of dopamine, another meaningful change during your leveling experience, during the early game, making you always feel like there is something new, always feel like there is something to think about. Oh, I want to go to this direction, and instantly you will feel like your skill actually changed from just a simple cleave to a long dashing cleave. That's just one example out of other things. And once again, this is early game. You will be able to change everything early game. I'm not even talking about later when you loot legendary items, set items, etc. that again modify and give you meaningful things later. I can't stress enough that usually in those games, you have those modifications every 4, 5, 6 level. Here, pretty much at each level you will get a modification, something that change, a new skill, a change that change completely, or a skill that will now chain with another. You will have those modification of gameplay and feeling of actually meaningful change very regularly. Without even talking of the fact that the XP leveling phase is much quicker than other games. So there is much less downtime between dopamine hits and fun, actually, simply. For now, that made me spend 40 hours between 3 different characters just to play some, like the first 50 level. So 40 hours for that, and I had a lot of fun already. That already made the game that is at $35 to $40 already much worth it, even without the late game. And I heard that the late game is very good, and there is already a lot of content there too. I would also like to point out something neat about the story. I usually don't following too much, here it's the same, but they do something that grab the attention sometimes. You switch from epoch to epoch really regularly. For example, you see here that there is multiple dates on the map, because you will switch on the date very regularly and go back to the same place in different era, seeing what happened. So even without reading too much or watching too much cutscene, you will notice from time to time, hey, I've been here before, it was in ruin, now I see it, or it looked like before that, or I see it what it looked like in prehistoric age, or I see it at the end of time when everything is ruined. That's actually pretty neat and make me think about Elden Ring and Dark Souls in a way that you see the environment, and even if you don't follow the story, you notice things about also the story, you understand things about the story just by the environment. It makes also interesting to do multiple characters, because when you come back, you actually realize the importance of this character or this character depending on the era or depending on the place. You will actually be able to notice the importance of someone that's in this era is not that important, but the consequence of what they've done are important in the next. Things like that. It's pretty neat and interesting. In conclusion, the game was very much worth it for me, meaning in money expended against hour played was very good. And it was fun from the get-go in the early. I didn't have to spend 10 hours of chore to get to the good part. It was fun from the beginning, so much that I restarted multiple times the beginning to have multiple experience between multiple classes. I hope you enjoyed the video, that it has been helpful for you, and I see you on the next one.